Board of Directors to order, and we'll begin with roll call. So first, Gino Grimaldi, he is absent. Michelle Weber. Here. Heather Murphy. Here. Kelly Sutherland, also is missing tonight. Pete Knox. Here. Lawrence Green. Here. And Susan Cox. The roll is called. Do we have any public comment?
We have no public comment online or in person tonight.
Okay, well, moving right along then. I'd like to move now to the board reports and directors, if you can share your updates. Let's go in order. So the Lane Council of Governments, Pete?
Nothing new to report right now. We have a meeting scheduled for the 25th of this month. I don't know that there is anything that may be relevant to what we do on the agenda.
Okay. And MPC, I think there's not really much to report on that. Unless you have something.
Well, I think I'd like to report that they are working on the regional transportation plan, which will be is the overarching plan for the for transportation in the region, and our Mobility Connect 2045 plan will have some connection with that. That's a better point.
They did a good job of sort of preparing us in advance of the meeting. So, and the Lane Act, Heather?
The only report is that it's moving to every other month that I can.
And strategic planning. Do you know of anything that we need to report from that?
So onboarded a couple members last night at the SBC meeting and went through serial communications with the group. So basic ground setting. For Dave, you want to add anything?
Yeah, so the one other topic was the coordinated human health plan. So we're going through an update process, and this is the first briefing with SPC. The board will hear more in the coming months about that. I'm sure.
Thank you. And the Finance Committee, Lawrence?
Yeah, so I believe we had our last meeting as the Finance Committee a couple weeks ago, and any further discussions, of course, will just kind of like these general games.
So now it's all on Pete. Yeah, if we need something, he'll alert us. And the Real Estate Committee, I think we're sort of on hold or standby. Yeah, we're on standby. And the Bylaws Committee, I think we're waiting until Kristen, we get some feedback there, and then we'll start. So, okay, I'd like to turn it over to Jameson, our CEO, your monthly report.
Well, welcome back. I know we met at Valley River Center, but welcome back to a board meeting. Let's go ahead and get started. We have Employee of the Month. We're going to invite Jake McCollum up. Introduce our employees. We have 3 that we're going to honor. This month, 4 actually, but 3 employees of the month. The first being Jake Carpenter. There he is. Jake, say a few words about Jake. Jake, you can introduce Jake.
Yeah, so I'm going to say a lot of good things about Jake, and I'm going to pretend that we're talking about me. It makes me feel good. It's really the other Jake. So like CEO said, we have 3 that we're going to do today. First one will be July. Mr. Carpenter, Transit Operations Supervisor, was selected to receive the July 2025 Employee of the Month. Jake was hired as a bus operator in July of 2015 and has received 17 safe driving awards since then. The operator that nominated Jake said, Jake is consistently quick to respond to any inquiry I have. If he doesn't have the answer, he finds it and gets back to me. This is normal behavior for him. His communication is excellent with the operators. When asked to comment on Jake's selection as Employee of the Month, Brian Penn, Transportation Manager, said, I really appreciate the efforts that Jake has made throughout his time as a security officer, operator, and supervisor here at LTD. He has been instrumental in helping with many projects. He also takes time to think things through and work out the best solution to resolve the issue and communicate with others, which is really what this nomination is about. Jake's done a lot of work on some specialized service and events and helping with our ability to move transportation around the community. I'm able to get him a project, and I know I'm going to get frequent updates, and he's going to let me know it's going to be smoothly. And obviously, the operators appreciate that. You did see my comment about the security aspect. He actually started as contracted, if I'm not mistaken, security services before we brought that in-house. So he's really kind of tasted every element of LTD, and I think that gives him a well-rounded perspective and does the great things that he does every single day. So with that, again, Jake, good job, appreciate it. And if you have anything that you want to comment about, go ahead.
I'll just say that after I departed from the Marine Corps, I was really looking for a team to serve with again. It was kind of really hard to find that. And here at LTD, I have found that. I enjoy working with my coworkers in operations. We really rely on each other every day. I enjoy working with the operators and being a part of that team. So thank you for the recognition, and thank you for letting me be part of the team.
Thank you. So here is a letter of congratulations. Chuck,
Thank you.
and this certificate. And I'd like an explanation about this picture.
So this was Country Fair, the Oregon Country Fair, which I got to help coordinate. And one of the ways I like to show customer service is get into the spirit. So this is me blending in.
Just like that, we're into August. So August employee of the month is Red Nice. And so Red Nice is a transit operations supervisor, was selected to receive the August employee of the month. Red was hired as a bus operator in 2016 and has received 7 safe driving awards. Again, you hear these safe driving awards, that's because they started as an operator. You know, it gives them an excellent perspective when they're out there supporting operators in their supervisory role. So the person that nominated Brett was also a bus operator. I went off route during the Cottage Grove detour. I called dispatch to see if I could verify my location. I had a hard time explaining exactly what happened, and once the phone got transferred to Brett, he immediately understood what I needed to do. He even identified landmarks for the turns. This all happened while dealing with traffic of Eugene's Pride March. Brett's quick thinking and knowledge and Elizabeth's skill on the radio allowed my riders to make their transfers and arrive at reasonable times. When asked to comment on Brett's selection as DOM, Brian, the manager again, Brett always comes to work with a smile on his face. Yeah, so do I. Positive attitude and willing to solve issues he faces on a daily basis. Brett has done a great job since being promoted to supervisor in May of 2024. He has a passion for helping those in need and an understanding of how to help those around him. This nomination this month is a perfect example of things he does on a daily basis. Great job, Brett, and congratulations. I just want to say I echo everything Brian says. I would also add that Brett has a smooth, calming demeanor on the radio. His expertise can really help diffuse intense situations, whether it's detours like this or emergency response. I appreciate working with Brett, and he does an outstanding job literally daily. And he probably does have a smile every time he comes. Thank you, Brett.
I just want to thank everybody. It's a pleasure working with everybody. I do enjoy every day that I come in. 10 years ago, if you would have told me that I was going to be a bus operator and then become a supervisor in a giant role like this, I would have told you that you're crazy. I would have never fathomed that I would be here today. So I just want to thank everybody. Thank you.
Appreciation. the certificate or something fun. And then this poster. You see?
Yes.
Okay, outstanding in your field, is that right?
Yes.
Thank you, congratulations.
And last but not least, Garrett. So our September employee month, Garrett Sage, bus operator, has been selected to receive the September 2025 employee month. Garrett was hired as a bus operator 8/10 of 2015. During that time, he has been nominated multiple times for employee of the month and received 8 safe driving awards. Became a part of the part-time instructor in 2021 and most recently became a temporary supervisor in 2024. So the nomination was from a retired operator. It says, I was working with Garrett. I had a medical emergency. Garrett took action that actually saved my life. All of a sudden I could breathe. Garrett jumped into action and jumped in and took action. The doctor said that his actions helped open my airway enough to pass a small object. When asked to comment on Garrett's selection as EOM, his supervisor, who's also in attendance, Bonnie, said the nomination of Employee of the Month for Garrett Sage is indeed an excellent choice. Garrett's work ethic shines through in every role he undertakes, be it as a bus operator, instructor, or temporary supervisor. His consistent display of leadership qualities not only sets a high standard, but also motivates his colleagues to strive to do better. Garrett's dedication and positive impact make him an asset to our team, and we are truly fortunate to have him on our workforce. Garrett's excited and eager. I remember when we first talked about the opportunity for him to be come in as a temporary supervisor, which you see all these other people that were bus operators, temporary supervisors. He told me that, he was going to do everything to prove to me that he was going to one day be a supervisor. And I'd say this is a great step. I mean, saving a life. I mean, that's pretty good. Say, hey, I want to be a supervisor. I enjoy working with Garrett. Does a great job again, just like all our other folks in ops. And congratulations on your employer.
Thank you so much. I would like to say real quickly, when I came here, this is like the best family I've ever been part of. It's more than a job. It is a family. I can go to anybody in this organization, and they're willing to help out. They're willing to lead if I have a question, or they give me the information. I can pass that information to other people, and it's a wonderful place to work. So I'm very grateful to be here.
Thank you. Thanks for being a part of the LTD family. That was a great thing to say.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys.
So we have one other employee award that we want to introduce. This is called the Hero Award. We have hundreds of stories of things that our employees do, actions that they take in our community. And we wanted to open it up to beyond Employee of the Month when something extraordinary happens. And I'd like to introduce you to my coworker and friend, Bonnie Willard. Bonnie is this month's recipient of the August recipient of the Hero Award. And she really is a hero. One night in June, she heard people asking for help across the street from Union Station. She responded. She didn't have to off the property, but she did. She found out that the person was overdosing had already received Narcan. Our employees are trained to dispense Narcan. So after calling 911, she did dispense Narcan, and the person came through as the paramedics were arriving. It was the third dose, I believe, that this person had received. So it was really in bad shape. Bonnie was able to save a life while on the clock, literally, and really be a real attribute to our community and a real hero. So I want to introduce you to Bonnie Willard and congratulate her and thank her for her service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I feel like, I'm around heroes every day. My coworkers are my heroes, and, we have a lot of passengers that step up as well. When they say we connect our community, our passengers are all part of that puzzle as well, helping each other out when there's trouble. It's an honor to get to work with the people that I do, and I love, working for LT. I've been here almost 13 years as of October, and I used to drive for FedEx and UPS, and what was nice about that is I just drop the package, they have a complaint, I just turn around, walk away, and have them call 1-800 number. It's a completely different ballgame out here when you're out there facing the passengers, and it can be challenging at times, but the reward is getting the situation resolved and getting them where they need to go, and how to end on a good note and stay in the solution. So thank you, I'm honored.
There's some pretty wonderful quotes. I hope the social media was.
Okay, continuing into our going into the presentation. Sorry.
Right, you should be able to see it.
Okay. This is just practice, so this doesn't count for my tradition of getting this wrong.
It's because I keep moving the Zoom.
Okay, all right, okay, for the record, it is not my fault. So I just wanted to update you on a few things. First one, the long range mobility plan. We've been talking about this for some time. It's got some legs under it now. We are working with ODOT on this, so we're using ODOT funds. We have a consultant team selected. We expect to get an agreement done any week now, right? And then start to proceed in this process. This will allow us to understand county needs for the next 20 years, right? So that's the effort that we're going to be undertaking here with our planning group. It will allow us to invest in ways that matter to the community, understand what the shifting needs are in communities across our service area and be able to address those. So we'll be working with the NODOT grant to do that. Our focus is on eliminating gaps or addressing service gaps where folks need help getting from place to place for various reasons, and to also align how we are planning for mobility projects with land use policies and growth goals. So stay tuned on that. Dave Roth and his group will be leading that. We'll be using the communications outlook that Eric will talk about later on tonight, but we're excited to see some movement in that area. Fare collections. We are assessing where we are for our fare collections, particularly revenue at the fare box. On our fixed route system, if you were to get on the route 17 or 18, you pay at the fare box. If you get on our MX system, you pay off board. So the design is such where it has rail elements, but it's bus. We recently installed validators, so you can get on, you can tap your card, or you can use your phone, and it will count the trips. What we're trying to do is understand how our ridership and our fare box is matching up. I think when we have, once the transportation package gets done one way or the other, we'll have 2 years to talk about public transportation across the state. And one of the questions I would ask as a legislator is, how are you doing collecting the funds you're supposed to already be collecting? So we have a better understanding of it on our fixed route network. We're looking at how we handle that on our BRT, on our MX, One of the activities you'll notice if you're riding that is you'll see our public safety folks randomly checking if folks have fares. What I've noticed while riding MX now is usage of the validators. So we have these little mounted validators that's starting to pick up. It's almost like it's gamified where you learn how to use it and people are teaching others how to use it. So we'll be watching that closely. We'll come back to you when we have more data on the usage. I know Mike's team and Pam's team in finance are looking at how do we take a hard look at what those revenues, how they're matching up, and we'll be able to report back to you on that. Human resources. We did a different approach to human resources. We have 2 Xenium employees on site. One is working on the HRIS, which is the back-end software to process. The other one is working on recruiting, and they've been very busy lately. I know her name is Kayla because she's by my office a couple times a day, interviewing for public safety officers and bus operators, so very busy that way. We've had some growing pains with the new service, but we do stay in touch with their leadership. They are committed to making things work, and we're doing a good job there. One of the first things that will come out of the chute from Xenium will be employee handbook, making sure that it's up to date with all the current laws and codes and is streamlined a bit. Right now, it's over 100 pages, so we're going to try to get that where it's maybe a little bit better. So we'll be able to share that with you all. When that does come out, the idea for us is to bring that, it's big policy, right? So to bring that to the board for adoption. Ideally, in my world, the handbook and the budget would all come at the same time, and we would do that. So we'll try to get to that at the next budget cycle as well. Any questions? Early feedback from operators is that the responsiveness is good. We got a little bit swamped when we started doing a lot of hiring. And we heard a couple of things, we've addressed that, but with new folks on the ground, I think that would be helpful. The community engagement framework implementation plan, recall this is the framework that you all adopted last summer. Eric is going to update us on how we actually intend to use it. Eric.
Thank you. Yeah, so last August, this board adopted the community engagement framework, which was the work product of the Community Outreach and Communications Assessment, or COCA. And that process was guided by a diverse group of community stakeholders, the Community Steering Council. It was really designed to improve LTV's engagement and communication around a range of initiatives. Since it's been adopted, we've been actively incorporating that into our work. We've also identified a need to develop a more structured implementation plan just to ensure that we're implementing this on a consistent basis. And doing it in a way that is focused on transparency and also clearly defines roles and responsibilities. So with that in mind, LT staff developed an implementation plan. Back in July, we presented this to the Community Steering Council. So that group that originally helped craft this framework, just to ensure that that implementation plan really aligns with their intent behind the framework. And they provided us with some really great feedback. We incorporated that thoughtful feedback into the final plan that was included in the board packets this month. So that implementation plan is set up in a really step-by-step process to first identify the need for communication, define the scope of engagement or communication, develop a plan, implement that plan, and follows that through all the way to an evaluation and reporting phase. We've had a few opportunities to implement the framework over the past year. That includes through the Downtown Loop that launched this week. So this week we launched the Downtown Loop, which is an improvement of Route 1. It improves transit access in downtown Eugene with adjusted routing and also increased frequency. As part of that process, LTD staff, in partnership with City of Eugene Transportation Planning staff, implemented the framework focused on opportunities to engage, identifying potential risks, opportunities with that project, and we're also going to follow that through. So it's not just a one-time implementation, but now that that service has launched, Now we still need to continue implementing the framework and through surveys, ongoing community engagement to learn how that pilot is performing. It's also being implemented through a range of other planning initiatives, including the long-range mobility plan, the coordinated plan, so many opportunities. And it's also worth noting that this framework isn't the only way that we're the plan isn't the only way that we're implementing the framework. There's many opportunities to incorporate this into LTD's work. This is really focused on plans and projects in particular. So I'm happy to answer any questions you may have tomorrow.
Questions?
One thing I'll add is that this is definitely a cross-departmental effort. Eric's group, marketing, Dave's group in planning, our public information officer and how she approaches her role, Sam in explaining things in government relations. So we're trying to be intentional and clear in what we're solving for and make sure that we're getting feedback as we build and as we measure the results as well. Thank you, Eric. You'll notice I skipped the cost of living adjustment. That was an accident. I forgot to tell you. we're gonna bring that to the next meeting. I think that is a big conversation for the entire board. And Gina did express wanting to hold off when you could make it as well. So we'll talk about that. Outcomes workshop review. If you look closely, you'll see two of our board members there, Pete and Michelle. They attended the workshop in this very room on August 19. Amy Riker did a good job leading the discussion. This was us circling back with community stakeholders in the areas of education, healthcare, housing, and workforce. And what we asked them to do last year was spend 2 days with us and talk about how our work is in alignment with their work. We took the year and we did some research and had further questions and brought them back to kind of let them know where we were and get their feedback on that. So we had a meeting here and it was pretty good. It was pretty good. Some of the metrics that we're looking at in the different areas, I'm just going to read them here from my phone. For healthcare, we're looking at the percentage of people who can access medical care and recreation in 45 minutes or less by bus or mobility services participation. So that would be a metric that we'll be looking at. Housing, percentage of people in LTD service area living within a 10-minute walk of a bus stop. So that focuses on connectivity. And then workforce, the goal is to eliminate barriers to access. So we're developing a metric that speaks to job access by bus. So we want to make sure that we're doing a good job there. And then we'll be tracking our student pass performance. One of the projects that we got a grant for, which is on hold, which was going to look at how having a pass in a student's hand impacts performance in school. So we're tracking along each of these areas in a good way. We'll continue to circle back to that group to dial in as we move forward. But we really want to align the work that we do with the work that matters in this community. So for us, it's always been about ridership and that and is what are the things that matter for us. So that piece will always be fluid depending on the priorities of our communities. Stay in the district, October 7. We'll hold that again over on the University of Oregon campus. You'll notice that we have a type program, 5 to 7. It wraps up with an hour of social time. So 60 minutes of program. We do intend to focus on how we take design into our focus, land use design into our planning focus, and also how we can work with business leaders. So we'll have a panel that features a architect who is also a mayor, and also a workforce development specialist. So Courtney Bracewell will be on business development. Dave Roth will be on that panel as well to kind of tie in what they're saying, how it comes to an application of the work that he does. And then we'll have a moderator moderate that panel, which will be Eric Bickman. You all well know does good work for us. So we may have a special guest at this, that we can announce later, but we're looking to get a special guest at this event as well. We look forward to it. This is the opportunity, for the community to ask us questions and for us to deliver on, or talk about how we spent taxpayer money and what the return is, and also to roll out some of the metrics I just talked about that matter to our community. So we look forward to doing that. I think that's it. All right, so that is it on conversation. Any questions on any of that before we go into the department reports?
I'm just going back to the tracking student achievement, those that have bus passes, are you voluntarily asking their GPA or something?
Yeah, so with the Attain grant, that was a partnership with Bethel School District.
Okay, all right.
So, yeah, so our part would be applying, supplying, at least their part would be doing the back. Hopefully that comes out and shoot with the federal government here soon. Any new news on that Attain grant?
Yeah, we're just in a holding pattern waiting to hear back from FHWA, which is the sponsoring agency.
Yeah, it was under review to make sure it didn't have any language that is not in alignment with the current administration. So hopefully we'll see that soon.
Jameson, is that a 1-year project? And then 3 years? Oh, it's great. I think it'd be interesting to maybe hear from some students that want to teachers or how they feel like it's impacted school.
You know, we get some of that information now. We do work with Safe Routes School. We have a one of the Safe Routes coordinators was just put on the strategic planning committee. So we get quite a bit of feedback around how that's working. I met with the new superintendent, 4J, last week, and she had a lot of questions around it. So yes, we'll bring some folks in to talk about how it's going, but also talk about how our regular student pass programs are going as well. Monthly department reports are in your packet. Couple of things that I would highlight is if you look at the ridership on MX in fixed route, it's down 1.5% compared to this time last year and 3.2% compared to the previous year, at the same time that our revenue hours are up. So we have more service on the street and less ridership. We're looking at what those dynamics are. It may be the timing of the school, or maybe that, it may be some other things. We know that housing is getting closer into the university, so that may be one of the dynamics as well. But that's something to track, that we have more service on the street right now, and our ridership is a little bit lower. Our mobility services, which is our paratransit and Medicaid and all those other on-demand services, that's going up. So we've seen a 4% increase year over year, but we're also below budget. So you might ask, how's your service higher and your budget is you're still under budget? On our paratransit side, we can't control demand. So we can control demand when we have our eligibility process, but it's cyclical in when that demand hits. So we usually budget a little bit higher to be able to absorb when those trips go up. And that's pretty normal for us. It's been that way for the past few years here, but I wanted to point that out to you. You'll also notice that the assault reporting shows an overall change, a bit of an increase. We are looking at what that means. We do have a stronger presence on our buses. We also know that EPD is doing different work downtown as well, and we're seeing some of the statistics come down. You'll recall that the definition of assault was changed last year, so it's a definition that can include verbal abuse or throwing water, those types of things. None of it good. So we'll be tracking what that means and how we can head that off as well. Accidents, preventable accidents are down. So we hired a lot of people last year. Well, we kept a good bit of them, and they've gotten good at driving buses. So our preventable accidents are heading in the right direction, and that's good. And then finally, our absenteeism. We had an issue with absenteeism. We can get better at it, but it has dropped 23%. So, and that's due to, some hiring, but also some scheduling. And people are coming into work. So with that, I'll stand for any questions on the department reports. Yeah, Richard.
Thank you. Okay. Let's move on to the consent agenda.
President,
Sure, yes.
I propose we move, the agenda item, Lane Council of Governments, South-Lane IGA intergovernmental agreement off of the consent agenda for further discussion. Just the South-Lane.
I move approval of the consent agenda with Lane Council of Government South Lane IGA removed.
Second. Do you have a reply person? Okay, Michelle,
Yes.
Lauren,
Yes.
Heather, I started calling you too much.
Aye.
And Susan, yes, so now that's it. Thank you. Okay. We now move to board action items and Jameson, do you have a summary for them?
Sure. Would you like to, let's start with the South Lane? Okay. So the IGA, the intergovernmental agreement, is to continue the service that exists today. So the service that is in question here, the South Lane service, was with discretionary STIP dollars that would have expired July 1, rather. Because we've extended the RFP and we have committed to not have a service disruption, this IGA continues that service until we can get through the RFP process and implement the new service. So that's what this is.
And Jameson, for the record, can you just state, so I think we're continuing some with South Lane Wheels. What has been in place, and then this covers the outer areas.
Correct. So, yeah, so the service as it existed prior to the RFP exists right now, the same providers, that has not changed. We just want to make sure that we're able to cover it for a time frame that's conducive to us going through a request for proposals process to get the new service running. Okay. Just keeps people moving.
Where are we on the RFP?
That is on the street right now and submissions are due.
In October.
Question?
I move approval of the Lane Council of Government South Lane IGA.
Second. Okay, let's vote, Pete.
Aye.
Ellen.
No worries, aye.
Lawrence.
Yes.
Michelle.
Yes.
Susan. Yes. Okay.
So we're over. Let's go to the committees is next, I believe.
That's, yes, right, and we just need to reaffirm that the committees that we're on are the committees we want to stay on. So at this point, is everyone satisfied with the committee they're on? So Lawrence,
Right.
if there is no finance committee, I should be noticing this. Is there someplace you'd like to jump to? Okay, yeah. Sure. Pete, you're happy?
Yes.
Heather and Michelle? I think we're good to go.
Okay.
We'll wait to hear from Lawrence.
What about those that are not right?
You know, should we, okay, we'll need to ask them or if they said.
We'll just continue this.
Okay, sure. We'll carry over. By then, Lawrence will figure out where he wants to be most. Okay, thank you. All right, and your operations center dedication, that's kind of sounds exciting.
Yes, before we start, I'd like to introduce you to Carrie Stewart. Carrie is our historian, public records person. She has the coolest office at LTD, 'cause she has all the historic, the facts and all the records. It's really neat. Next time you're there, pop in, got some great pictures. But the reason I'm introducing Carrie is because she led a 12-member committee to assess candidates that he had submitted to have the Operations Command Center dedicated to. And I believe they processed 26 different candidates that were submitted, and went through a process where looked at the background, researched the history, used the Oregon Historical Society as well, and did a really wonderful job. The candidate that came out on top.
So do we do a drum roll down?
Yeah, go ahead. The candidate that came on top was the first female general manager at LTD, and we can't find evidence that she's not the first female GM in transit. We're still trying to find evidence that there was one before her. She served from 1979 to 2001. 2000. Okay, I was gonna give her an extra year, 2000. She was appointed, she was appointed, oh, you give away my secret. She was appointed by Governor Paul to the board, and then resigned her position on the board to become the executive assistant to the then general manager. And then within 5 years, she threw her name in the hat for the general manager role and ended up beating out the person who was serving as interim, along with 2 external candidates as well. By all accounts, very strong business mind, had a very good relationship with the business community, with getting MX rolling and other accomplishments in the agency. One very notable one in the industry is being the first fully accessible fleet prior to the ADA deadline. So she led that charge to make sure that everyone had equal footing to use this service. Another interesting feat that I learned today was LTD was named Business of the Month on her watch by the Eugene Chamber. The only public agency for that to happen in the area. Yeah, Carrie put together a really good book on all the things. So Phyllis Luby is the person who came out on top in voting by resounding amount. Number 2 was Wiley, last name?
Wiley Griffin.
Wiley Griffin, I should know that.
Yeah.
Wiley Griffin, we're gonna be coming to you with another approach for Wiley Griffin at a future meeting. But to honor General Manager Luby, we'd like to dedicate the new OCC to her. We should have people moved in by the end of October. And we were planning on having an official grand opening sometime after the first of the year. With all new construction, even though Todd is a genius at this stuff, there's going to be quirks, right? So we want to get the quirks out before we introduce the building to everyone. So we're asking that to be named after her. This also will include a mural, if you will, that has information around her career at LTD and a small herb garden. A small herb garden as well. So that's where we landed, and just wanted to see if there was any conversation around that. We do have a resolution drafted for you all to vote on, so I'd be happy to take any questions with Carrie's help. Yeah.
Well deserved. Does she have family or anything in the area that they participate or?
That I don't know.
Her daughter lives in Seattle and she'll come down for the dedication in January.
Great. Well done.
No, thank you for
Okay, do we have a motion to adopt resolution 2025-09-1031, dedicating our Operations Command Center in honor of Phyllis Luby?
So moved.
Okay, Lawrence.
Yes.
Steve?
Aye.
Michelle? It's an enthusiastic yes, that's great. Thank you. Great job, Carrie. Okay. Is there any other business? If there isn't, we will adjourn. Oh, keep it, we have to take our glasses off.
Yeah, thanks, Susan. I wanted to give the financial report, and before I do that, I just want to explain what was Lawrence explained it in his report that I had recommended that we move the finance committee to an ad hoc role. And there's two basic reasons for that. One of them is that it reflects basically the practices we have kind of fallen into, where contracts and stuff like and been reviewed by the full board and passed by the full board. The second reason is that I feel like we're going to be looking at some challenging times, but fiscally in the next couple of years because of what's going on at not just federal level, but the state level as far as grant and resource funding for operations and new projects and things like that. And so there's going to be a lot of limbo, and I want us to really have a hand with the full board, not just a subset of the board, to have an understanding where we are financially, where we're going, and if there are emerging trends that we should be paying attention to. Leaving the finance committee in an ad hoc status is, I suggested that because there could be a situation where a deeper dive needs to be done and a subset of the board could do that work and not overburden the general board meeting. Now, if you look at page 12 on your packet, you'll notice that we have a Pam is put in the financial report for the 30th of June, which is the end of the last fiscal year. It's sort of a snapshot of that date, so it's not a end of the year accounting of everything. It's a snapshot of that particular day. I want to highlight that. So on the revenue side, we've done really well. The payroll taxes and other revenue sources have been good to us in this last fiscal year. Expenses, we've kept that in line. You'll notice that there is a higher, 148% of our expenses what is budgeted for insurance. That's a reflection of what's going on in the insurance world nationally, and not something that we have done. It's probably going to be a challenge. Other than that, if anybody has any questions or comments.
Thank you, that was really helpful. I appreciate it. We have the right person, Mike, instead.
Yes, we do.
So, just as a matter of consensus, you can agree with have the finance committee be ad hoc. Doesn't need to be a formal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there a consensus to do that?
Yes. Yes.
They could, they have the ability to create an ad hoc meeting there. So you have that ability for any subject in any committee.
We sort of agreed that he would be the one to alert us if there was a moment or incident that required that to happen. So,
Well, want to keep a good eye on what's going on.
Brianna?
Should we be adding Pete to the finance?
We can talk after.
Okay, meeting is adjourned. It is not.